Hey, what's up? I'm Liz, this Blitzy DIY, but this is not a normal video. It's currently Tuesday, and usually with how my video schedule goes, my goal is always to get one video out a week, and I can usually tell if I'm in good shape by the beginning of the week. That's kind of how far you have to plan out. And if I'm at a point where I'm still in the middle of a project, and I'm not even near a point where I'm like really shooting yet, I know it's just not going to happen because, you know, I work full time. This is my like hobby, so I know when I'm had a lost cause. So right now I have all this stuff on the table here, so you can see I'm working on a lot of stuff right now, and none of it's complete. It's all in like different stages. I have the Linux build here because I'm in the middle of benchmarking that on Ubuntu, and that's taken a little bit longer than I planned because for my benchmarking videos, I like to get really detailed and really accurate as possible, and so it takes time, and this is the first time I'm benchmarking an Ubuntu system, so it takes a while. So this video is going to be kind of a work in progress vlog where I just kind of talk about what I'm working on. And hopefully maybe if you're working on projects, it'll inspire like some things you want to do or give you some ideas. I'm normally pretty like tight-lipped about what I'm working on. Like I'll post photos and stuff on social media or things like that, but I don't really like say in detail what I'm working on, and I might change that. I don't know. I'm having kind of a change in how I want to operate things, maybe. So if you like this style of video where I just kind of talk really casually about what I'm working on or ideas I have, let me know, and maybe it can be like a regular thing, because I never, like, even though it comes out on the channel like one project at a time, I'm never working that way. It's always a lot of research going on. I use OneNote to keep track of all my stuff, and I have tabs for like all these projects, even if it's just like a quick idea and like some links. So if people are interested in that kind of thing, like having those kind of updates, let me know. It's kind of experiment. So most currently I'm working on benchmarking the Ubuntu rig, and that will get done. I just need time. Benchmarking takes time. I actually really enjoy it. It's time consuming because you have to let everything run all the way through, and then you have to write down the numbers, and you have to think, does that make sense that that's the result? Or at least I do. And then after I get all the results, I put them into the charts that you see. I use Adobe Illustrator for that. Then you have to export all the charts. It's a whole process. It takes a while. So I'm in the middle. I'm in the thick of this. I have almost all the synthetics done. I just want to do some phonics tests, and that's actually where I got stuck a little because I didn't realize how detailed and intense phonics was. Like I knew it was like really inclusive. It's an open source benchmarking software for Linux, by the way, for those that don't know. And so I'm like trying to work on that, and trying to figure out what tests to run. And I need something to compare it to, so I'm going to try to pull some stuff online. Like maybe a higher grade system so that people can see like the range, because to just throw a benchmark up there when there aren't things to like compare isn't that great. I kind of regret that about the Windows benchmarks I ran for this. On the charts I just put the standalone benchmarks, and if you hear rustling, my cats are running through their tunnel right now because it's playtime apparently. So this will get done. This will probably be the next video. If all goes according to plan. And of course, I'm doing gaming benchmarks. I had to find like a frame counter equivalent for Ubuntu, and I found one, but I'm having issues running it in some of the games. Some of the games are just kind of having issues in general, so we'll see where that all lands. I am going to have to retest some stuff in Windows just so I have a better apples to apples comparison, because I hate to be like, well, this is how it ran in Windows and this is what happened in Ubuntu, but the settings were totally different. Like I don't want to do that. So yeah, that's where this stands. This is, I want to get the actual name correct, an AMG 8833 breakout board from Adafruit, but in layman's terms, it's a thermal camera. It's a thermal camera module, and you can use it with Arduino or Raspberry Pi. And I've been experimenting with this with the example code they have. It's really fun, and I think it'd be cool for benchmarking, actually. So what I want to do with this is I want to make a Raspberry Pi hat for it. And so that'll be really simple and quick, actually. I want to do some adjustments, like I want to hook some of the code in to react to potentiometers. Now I just need to experiment a little bit more. If worse comes to worse, I'm just going to make the hat for this and talk about how to like do that if you have just an IC that you want to kind of sit on top of your Pi. So I want to do that so then I can carry the Pi around like a camera, and maybe have it powered off like a battery bank, a USB battery bank, so then you can like walk around with it. So that's what's happening with this. And then another fun thing, most of these are like Adafruit products that I've been working with too, because I mean, honestly, like they just make the best stuff. So this is a Circuit Playground Express. It's a board from Adafruit. Basically, it really is a circuit playground. Like there's all sorts of sensors on here. You can do a lot of cool stuff, and it uses the SAMD21 chip. Sorry, it's not M0, it's SAMD21. So you can use this with CircuitPython. You can also use it with MakeCode. You can also use it with the Arduino IDE, but I mean, it'd be a damn shame to not take advantage of CircuitPython. So this is related to, if you watched the Pedal Pi video, I talked about how it'd be cool to make like a foot controller for the Pi, so then you wouldn't have to type in the commands. That's what I'm hoping to use this for, and that's what this switch is. You can see it looks like a foot switch for a pedal, but it's a momentary switch rather than a latching switch. So when you press it, it just sends one signal. So what I'm hoping to do is get a bunch of these. I got this one on Amazon. Unfortunately, they are kind of pricey compared to other components. This was about $6 and change, which when you add up like a lot of buttons. But I mean, if you're going to use it as a foot switch, you need that stomp box feeling. So basically I want this to trigger the script, and I'm hoping to be able to do a CircuitPython. Adafruit has this really cool kind of like example project on how to make like hotkey keyboard for like streaming, so I'm gonna probably be using a lot of that. But one thing I do want to do is every time you press a button, I want the lights to dance around on this, and I want to get a housing in so that this is like face up with like the switches around it, and then the lights will kind of do different designs based on the effects. So I think that'd be really cool, and hopefully get like a housing going with it too. So I was doing some experimenting with this, and it seems like it will work, so that's pretty cool. And then this, I won't lift it all the way up, so you can see these are buttons on a breadboard. And then this board is the Metro Express, also a board from Adafruit. You can notice it has a very similar footprint to an Arduino. This is also using the SAMD21 chip, so you can use it with CircuitPython. This is another kind of keyboard project. I really like peripheral projects. I don't know why, but ever since I got into open source, I've just really loved making like controllers and stuff. I just really enjoy those kind of projects. So this is kind of building on a project I did over a year ago. I did an Arduino macro keyboard, and that was, and I only had an Uno, so I was like flipping the firmware using AtmelFlip, so that would be seen as a keyboard. This is kind of building on that because I said in that video, and I think a video after it, that I was going to work on an emoji keyboard. That led me down literally a year-long rabbit hole of off and on again research on how Unicode works, what's happening behind the scenes in the software of like Windows and stuff, to see how you can trigger emojis to just pop up on the screen. It sounds really simple, but there's actually a lot to Unicode and how it's working in the background. And so I've been doing a lot of research on that, and I'm finally like, basically, I want to make an emoji keyboard, like so that when you press a button, an emoji comes up on the screen. I really like emojis. I think they're cool. I think they're cute. I think they're a cool way to communicate. And they just, they make the world seem like a less terrible place, which I think right now we need that. We just do. So I really want to make this project, and I was trying to figure out a way to do it natively so that I wouldn't have to like hack anything around. Like I don't want it to like not be like totally working. I want others to be able to replicate it, because that's the goal of any project I do. I want someone else to be able to make it if they want to. Otherwise, what's the point, So I think though I'm going to have to, at least to get the project off the ground, do a registry hack that is in Windows so that you can enter in emojis via text like really easily. and then I can basically do like hotkeys to send the emojis. That's what I'm leaning towards right now. I've been trying to avoid doing that. Like I knew about that hack for a while, but I was hoping I'd be able to do it natively, and I can't quite get it. So at least with interfacing with hardware, if it was just software, that's one thing, especially with Python, since so much web dev is with Python, but where it's the issue is that it's a USB peripheral and I'm having to program it on the back end to do that. That's what has caused all this. And I could honestly talk for hours about Unicode and emoji and how all of that works. But I'll spare you unless you really want me to. Let me know. And then this is a little more straightforward, but it's also a keyboard. So I hope you like keyboards. So this is the Plank keyboard kit. Now, there's a site called Massdrop where you can do these group buys and get things for like really cheap. And I use every once in a while if they have something cool. And this is something I had wanted since they had the drop the first time and I missed it. So basically this is a fully programmable, it actually uses a 32U4 chip to control everything. And it's fully programmable, and it's an ortholinear keyboard. And this is the PCB for it. So it's a DIY kit. So you solder in all the switches with the layout that you want. You can see here it's a little bit funky at the bottom. That's so you can get the right spacing. And here's the Atmel chip right here. And so yeah, and the kit, like you get this keycaps, cable, a really nice heavy-duty base to put in, and then you could get switches if you want to. I got them because I figured out it was cheaper to get them in the kit than to order them separately. So I'm going to be putting that together, doing some experiments with that, where it's a 32U4. I am curious if I can do some like MIDI hacks and stuff. I went with Gatoron's red switches because they were like the cheapest ones. I wanted them to be fast and not necessarily clicky, even though I do love clicky. And so it comes with a bag full of switches, and just solder them on. So they're gonna mount like this. See there, but I feel like it was a little boring, to just kind of go with that. So I was looking at the PCB like one does, and I saw that there were holes for LEDs. I looked at the switches, and they sure enough had room for 3mm LEDs. So I looked around online, and I wanted pink LEDs. I love pink, So I found some 3mm pink LEDs, and I was able to get 100 of them for the same price as this single switch here. A little over $6 and change. So when I'm soldering, like I'll put the light in there. I don't know if you can see it. We're dealing with some pretty small stuff. And I'll solder it in. So I just thought that would kind of jazz up the keyboard a bit, especially pink LEDs. I love pink LEDs. I remember the first time I found pink LEDs at Radio Shack. Remember Radio Shack? It was when I was first starting working out with Arduino, and I was actually doing my first iteration of the audio spectrum analyzer project that eventually landed inside my computer. And I put different color LEDs for each part of the spectrum, and I found pink ones, and I was just so excited. I was just so pumped on it. So yeah, I love pink LEDs. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. That's the kind of pipeline of projects I've got going right now. I'm excited about all these projects. I think they're all going to be really cool. It's just getting down to business to defeat the Huns, or, working on the project, whatever your preference is. And once I do that, it'll be great. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you liked it, toss me a thumbs up and leave any questions or comments down below, especially if you like this style of video or if you hated it, to let me know if I should do something like this in the future. Do you want to see more like extreme works in progress? I mean, we're talking about alligator clips here. That's how like bare bones we're doing. I could even do demos of like stuff that's like barely working. That's always exciting when the code is barely functioning. But let me know. Like I said, this is a collaborative endeavor, this channel. So you know, that's what it's all about. And if you're into behind the scenes, definitely follow me on social media. That's where I post a lot of nonsense about what I'm up to. So when I'm not posting a video on YouTube that looks kind of polished and like I know what I'm doing. But yeah, until next time with a completed project, this has been Blitz City DIY.